How to become unkillable when the world has ended, cities are burning buffets for the desperate, and your neighbor's katana collection is about to become tragically, hilariously useless. The movies lied to you, spectacularly, cinematically, with $100 million budget and zero survival consultants. They showed you leather-clad survivors with perfect hair, driving muscle cars through wastelands, shooting their way to glory. They forgot to mention that glory doesn't fill your stomach, bullets run out faster than your patience, and that muscle car, it's a 2-ton paperweight the moment gas stations become graveyards guarded by people who've already lost everything worth losing. Here's the truth nobody wants tattooed on their forehead. The apocalypse isn't an action movie. It's a camping trip that never ends, run by someone who actively hates you, where the campground is on fire and checkout is permanent. 7 basic skills, 7 things that separate survivors from statistics, 7 boring superpowers that will make you a god among the desperate and confused. Let's begin your education in not dying. Skill 1, fire starting, or how not to become a frozen monument to your own incompetence. Day 3 of the collapse, temperatures dropping, you're shivering in what used to be a Starbucks surrounded by useless espresso machines. Your lighter? Dead. Your matches? Soaked when you fell into that drainage ditch running from people who weren't friendly. Fire isn't just warmth. Fire is cooked food that won't give you parasites. It's purified water that won't turn your intestines into a rebellion. It's the difference between sleeping and becoming a popsicle with regrets. Method 1. The bow drill. Dry softwood board, willow, cedar, whatever the dead forest offers. Carve a depression near the edge. Harder stick for a spindle. A bow from a curved branch in cordage. Shoelace, bark, those designer sweatpants, now expensive rags. Wrap the string around the spindle. Press down with a socket, a rock, a shell, anything. Saw back and forth like your life depends on it. Friction makes heat. Heat makes an ember. An ember on dry grass becomes fire. First 50 tries, blisters and despair. Try 51, that ember feels like discovering electricity. Method 2, hand drill. Same idea, more pain. No bow, just your palms spinning the spindle. Your hands will hate you. But when there's no cordage, this is survival. Method 3, flint and steel. Scrape a ferro rod with a sharp edge, a knife spine, broken glass, sending sparks into char cloth or tinder. No ferro rod, actual flint and high-carbon steel work. The science? Friction creates heat. Heat creates combustion. Combustion creates the only friend that won't betray you. Fire doesn't judge. Fire just burns. Skill 2, water purification, because clear water is a beautiful, sparkling liar. That crystal stream, it's trying to kill you. Giardia, Cryptosporidium, E. coli, invisible assassins waiting to turn your digestive system into a war zone. They don't announce themselves, they just wait. Dehydration kills in days. Contaminated water kills slower with more suffering. Method 1, boiling. A rolling boil for 1 minute, 3 at altitude because physics is petty. Kills bacteria, viruses, parasites. No pot? Heat stones in a fire till they're screaming hot. Drop them into a water container. The water boils, pathogens die, you live. Method 2, solar disinfection. Clear plastic bottles, sunlight, a reflective surface, 6 hours of direct sun minimum. UV scrambles microorganism DNA. They can't reproduce. Science wins. Method 3, filtration plus purification. Layer gravel, sand, and charcoal in a container with holes. Pour water through. It'll look clearer, but it's not safe. Still boil it. Method 4, the solar still. Dig a hole, put a container at the bottom, cover the hole with clear plastic, weight it in the center to dip down toward the container. Seal the edges with dirt. The sun heats the ground, moisture evaporates, condenses on the plastic, and drips clean into your container. It's slow, but it's magical when there's no water. 3 days without water and you're making poor decisions. 4 days and you're not making decisions at all.
Let's continue with skill 3, knot tying,
the most underrated superpower in existence. Your neighbors spent years collecting tactical gear, night vision goggles, body armor, enough knives to open a museum of poor decisions. Know what he can't do? Tie a bowline under pressure. When his shelter collapses in the first storm, when his snare falls apart, all that gear becomes a memorial to misplaced priorities. Knots are engineering. Knots are the difference between a shelter and a pile of sticks, between catching dinner and watching it escape while your stomach files a grievance. The bowline creates a fixed loop that won't slip, won't jam, won't betray you. Rescue harness, securing loads. Learn it until you can tie it in the dark with numb fingers while something is chasing you. The clove hitch, fast, adjustable, perfect for starting lashings. Wrap, cross, wrap, tuck, done. The taut line hitch, adjustable tension, perfect for tent lines or any situation needing tightening without retying. The square lashing is how you build. 2 poles at right angles, cordage wrapped in a specific pattern. Suddenly you have a joint stronger than the materials themselves. Shelters, rafts, ladders. Then there's the trucker's hitch, mechanical advantage in rope form. It creates a pulley system for tensioning lines far tighter than muscles alone. Practice until they're muscle memory. Your conscious brain will be busy panicking. Let your hands work automatically. Rope is reusable engineering. Next, skill 4, basic first aid. Your body is now a machine with no warranty and no repair shop. That cut on your hand? Old world, inconvenience. New world, audition for infection. And infection is auditioning for sepsis. And sepsis is auditioning for death. It's a casting call nobody wants to win. There are no hospitals, no pharmacies, no doctors who aren't also trying to survive on the same scraps you are. For wound care, clean it like your life depends on it, because it does. Water first, ideally boiled and cooled. Remove debris, dirt, everything that isn't supposed to be inside you. Close it if needed with butterfly bandages made from tape and cloth. You have to know the signs of infection: redness spreading, heat, swelling, pus. Red streaks traveling toward your heart mean blood poisoning, and you're in serious trouble. A fever means systemic infection. You need antibiotics or a miracle. For splinting, immobilize breaks with rigid materials like sticks or boards, padded with cloth. Splint the joint above and below the break. Don't try setting bones unless you know exactly what you're doing. Bleeding control starts with direct pressure, always. Press hard, press long, don't peek. Elevate if possible. Tourniquets are a last resort. They save lives but might cost the limb. Burns, cool water, not ice. Cover with a clean cloth, and don't pop the blisters. That's nature's bandage doing its job. The human body is remarkably resilient and remarkably fragile simultaneously. Learn where those boundaries are. Respect them. Finally, skill 5, shelter building, your nightly battle against the universe itself. Hypothermia doesn't need freezing temperatures. Wet and 50 degrees kills you just as dead as dry and 20 below. Wind is a thief that steals heat you can't afford to lose. Rain is a betrayal from a sky that used to be trustworthy. Shelter is your first priority after immediate safety, before water, before food. Without shelter, you won't live long enough to get thirsty or hungry. The debris mite is nature's sleeping bag. A ridgepole propped at one end, the other on the ground. Lean sticks against both sides, creating a rib cage. Then pile debris, leaves, grass, pine needles, until you have 2 feet of insulation on all sides. Stuff the inside with more. Crawl in, and your body heat warms the small space. The lean-to is faster, less insulating. A horizontal pole between 2 trees, branches leaned against it, debris piled on top. Face the opening away from the wind and build a fire in front to reflect heat back. The snow cave. Snow is an insulator. Inside stays around 32 degrees regardless of the outside temperature. Dig an entrance that slopes upward to a sleeping platform. Cold air sinks, warm air rises. Poke a ventilation hole and don't let the entrance get blocked. Carbon dioxide buildup kills silently. Location is everything. High ground for drainage, but not exposed ridges. Near water, but not in flood zones. Near fuel, but not under dead branches, and away from animal trails.
Let's continue with Skill 6, Foraging and Trapping. The grocery store is dead. Long live the grocery store. Canned goods run out. MREs expire. Convenience stores are picked clean by people who moved faster. At some point, you need food that wasn't manufactured by a civilization that no longer exists. Foraging Rule 1: if you're not absolutely certain it's edible, don't eat it. Mushrooms are a minefield. Some feed you, some kill you, and they often look identical. Stick to certainties. Dandelions, the whole plant is edible. Cattails, the roots, shoots, and pollen are all food. Acorns, leach the tannins by soaking them in several changes of water, and then you have flour. Pine needles make a tea that prevents scurvy. Trapping beats hunting. Hunting requires skill, energy, luck. Traps work while you sleep. A simple snare, a loop of wire on an animal trail attached to a bent sapling, catches rabbits and squirrels. Set 10 of them. Check them daily. Probability becomes your hunting partner. The figure 4 deadfall, 3 sticks notched to interlock under tension, holding up a heavy rock. You place bait underneath. An animal takes the bait, the trigger releases, and the rock falls. It's thousands of years old. It still works beautifully. For fish traps, weave a basket with a funnel entrance. Fish swim in, but they can't figure out how to leave. Overnight breakfast. The real skill isn't just finding food, it's knowing which plants are edible in which season, because that same root that saves you in spring can poison you in fall when it concentrates toxins for winter dormancy. Calories are currency. Protein is premium. Fat is gold. Your body will consume itself if you don't feed it. Skill 7, Navigation. Getting lost is just dying with extra steps. GPS is dead. Your phone is a fancy paperweight. Google Maps has joined Google in the great digital graveyard, yet you need to move. Staying put rarely works. Resources deplete. Threats accumulate. Safety is usually somewhere else. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. At noon, it's roughly south in the northern hemisphere. That's your baseline compass when compasses don't exist. Use the stick-shadow method. Plant a stick vertically, mark the shadow tip, wait 15 minutes, mark the new tip. The line between those marks runs east-west, with the first mark being west. Perpendicular is north-south. At night, use the stars. Find the Big Dipper. The 2 stars at the cup's end point to Polaris, the North Star. It doesn't move. It sits over the North Pole. Face it, and you're facing north. Then there are natural indicators. Moss grows on the north side of trees, except when it doesn't. Use it as a hint, not a guarantee. Snow melts faster on south-facing slopes. Spiderwebs are often built on the south side. None are reliable alone, but together they paint a picture. Master the art of backtracking by breaking branches at eye level every 100 paces. If you need to retreat from danger or a dead end, those markers become a lifeline in terrain that all looks the same when panic sets in. And mental mapping. Pay attention. Always pay attention. Note landmarks. Count your paces. Track the sun's movement. Know where you came from. Now for the final truth. Here's what separates survivors from statistics. It's not gear, not guns, not bunkers filled with freeze-dried food and paranoia. It's knowledge, it's skill. It's looking at sticks and seeing shelter, at streams and seeing safe water, at a rope and seeing 100 solutions. Skills weigh nothing. They're carried in your head forever. They can't be stolen. They don't break. They don't run out of batteries. They don't expire. Your neighbor with the katana collection will starve in 3 weeks because he never learned to boil water. The prepper with the bunker will die of an infected cut because he thought supplies mattered more than knowledge. But you You learned the boring skills. You practiced the unsexy fundamentals. You became fluent in survival's language that humanity spoke for millennia before we forgot it. The apocalypse isn't an action movie. It's a test. The people who pass aren't the ones who look the part. They're the ones who did the homework. Class dismissed. Now go practice before you need it, because when you need it, it's already too late to learn.